IVM.
We at IVM like cricket, but we like jackpots and prizes too. Oh, you do as well? Then this IPL season, just download Cred, pay your bills, and you could win the Cred Daily Jackpot, which is a daily mystery reward on the app, unveiled every 13th over of the second innings of the match. It's that easy. So, download Cred. Hello and welcome to another awesome episode of IVM Likes. I love what we're going to be talking about today because we already talked about it last week as well. We're going to be continuing our discussion on the world's most haunted places. The reason we couldn't get to this on the previous episode because we just started talking about our own personal experiences with ghosts, and Vinay, who is also joining us on this episode, Vinay had a lot of personal amazing stories. Of course, they were for a lot of us they were a little too outlandish to believe, but he stands by them. And he'll be telling us more fascinating stories today. So joining me on this episode, I'm Antariksha Thakkar, the host, and joining me on this episode are Utsav Mamoria. Hey, Utsav.
Hey, guys.
Utsav also joined us on the previous episode's recording. Utsav is also the host of Postcards from Nowhere, the podcast on our IVM network. Also joining us is Vinay again. Hey, Vinay. And also joining Vinay and Utsav are Deep. Deep, what's up, man?
Hey. What's up, Antariksha?
Hey, buddy. All good. Deep is our sound engineer at IVM, sound engineer and editor. Awesome. This is going to be epic. For those of you joining us for the first time on an episode of IVM Likes, firstly, welcome. And how a typical episode of this show works is in the first half, we give you guys some awesome recommendations to something that we have recently checked out. This can be a movie, TV show, book, anything that we have recently seen or read and would like to recommend to you. And in the second half, we will talk about, as I said, the most haunted place in the world. And this time we'll actually get to the most haunted place in the world and not just our own personal stories. Awesome. Let's get this episode started. Deep, we are seeing you on an episode of Likes after a very long time. Would you like to start us off with your recommendation, man?
I wouldn't say after a very long time. This is my first time on the Likes, though. But yeah, thank you so much for having me on IVM Likes. And it's been coming for so long. And I've been listening to the episodes quite long. So yeah, I'm quite much fascinated about this episode because haunting stories are quite close to my heart as well as it is to yours.
And you sound like I'm giving you some big opportunity, like a platform or something. Don't be like that. Thank you so much for being here. I'd like to thank my parents. I'd like to thank my neighbors.
Goes to.
Yeah. But thanks, man. Thanks, Deep, for having us.
So going on with the recommendations. So there's this one. So I am a sucker for haunting things or the mysteries, unsolved mysteries that around the world. So I keep on looking up for these things around the internet, and most of them, like almost 80 to 85% of them, are either fake or just made up by people. So it's quite hard to find the most authentic haunted stories or authentic mysteries which are unsolved right now. But there's this one page, one channel on YouTube, which I've been hooked up to for quite a long time. It's called Nexpo. I'll spell it. It's NEXPO, like Expo with the N before it. Mm-hmm. So this guy has been running his channel for quite a long. And he has this series which is still up and running. And his series is called Disturbing Things Around the Internet. So it's not particularly haunted things. It includes haunted things, and it also includes some of the disturbing things that are happening around the internet. Maybe it can be an accident which is unusually stands out of the box. So those are kind of the disturbing things, and there can be an incident which happened with someone, which someone cannot explain in proper words.
So like unexplained and unsolved mysteries, kind of. Is that it?
Yeah, right.
Oh,
that's right.
Fascinating.
So he also goes around with some cases which are ongoing cases which are yet to be solved. You can just go out and check his page and check his channel.
So these are like unsolved cases, right? So could you say they are gone cases? Sorry.
They're not yet gone cases.
They're not gone cases yet? Okay, cool. Okay, that's Deep's recommendation. That was Nexpo on YouTube, the YouTube channel.
I have another recommendation.
Okay, please give us your recommendation.
My recommendation is a movie which I thought wouldn't be quite a ride, but it happened to be quite much of a ride. It's on Netflix. It's called The Ritual. Has anyone had a chance to look at it?
What, man?
So The Ritual. It's called The Ritual. So it's actually a movie where I'm just going to discuss the plot of the movie. It's about four friends who decide to go on a trek and happen to go off track, and with the track that they take, which happened to be a shortcut to a lodge or an inn, happens to be the most haunting track that they have ever took in their lives. So you might that's all I want to discuss about this movie, because I don't want to give too much of the plot, because the movie itself has so much twists and turns in it. It also has this core ideology that how can you run away? You cannot run away from a guilt. You have to stay there and fight it. You have to reason with it.
So this is again like a scary movie, or?
Yeah, it's a scary movie.
Oh, sorry, horror.
And but yeah, so nowadays every Netflix movie comes with a message to it, and this movie has a message that you cannot run away from your guilt, or you cannot run away from the blames that you have taken up on yourself, which you weren't really deserving. So you have to stand there and face them, and you have to resolve, reason with them, and you have to resolve them by yourself.
Okay.
So just go ahead and look at this movie called The Ritual. It's on Netflix.
Is there an actual creature that is haunting them, or something like that, or is it like a thriller?
Yeah, there is an actual creature.
There's a creature. Oh
no,
I love
there
creature.
Is an actual creature. There's an actual creature.
Is it a demon?
It's a creature haunted movie. Yeah, more or less.
Yeah, with a name like Ritual, actually, yeah, makes sense. Good, nice, sick. This is on Netflix, right? And is it?
Yeah, that's on Netflix.
Is it a very recent movie, or is it like it's been around for a while?
It's quite recent.
Okay, cool. Thanks, man. Let's get to the next recommendation. Utsav, okay. Would you like to help us out?
I'll recommend a book. I mean, that's what I do most of the time. So I spend my time reading. So it's a book called The Language of Cities. It's by Deyan Sujik. And the interesting part about the book is that it talks about what a city actually is, right? And what becomes of a city, and how a city is shaped, and we get shaped by cities ourselves. So he brings out very interesting points. And he says, for example, if you look at all the cities which are built by large, crazy dictators, right? So if you look at Beijing as a city, right, which was built by Mao, they always built cities in a circular fashion. So they essentially built a power center, right? And immediately around the power center would live all the important the bureaucrats. Then one level up, behind it would live the elite, the business folks. And then at the absolute outside of the city would live the people who were the working class, and they're essentially at the margins of the city, right? He actually starts looking at cities in a very different way, and talks about, how we build a city speaks so much about us as a culture and what it reflects on us. Like, for example, if you look at like a city like Bombay, right? I mean, of course, Bombay is linear because there is sea on one side. But the difference fundamentally is that Bombay was never a city of rulers. It was a city of merchants, right? The existence of Bombay is owing to trade, right? Similarly, if you look at a city like Calcutta, it was also essentially developed in many ways because of trade. Versus cities which became political capitals, for example, Delhi. Delhi is again a circular city, right? And that's how a lot of those cities.
The seat of the power, yeah. So it's like as you go farther away, it dissipates power more and more. Correct. Like the weaker or the lesser, as in the less economically well-off people are towards the outskirts. This is actually similar to. There's an anime. Sorry, I'm just going to talk about random anime. There's an anime called Attack on Titan.
Yeah,
have you heard of Attack on Titan? Yeah. So basically, the plot is that humanity is on the brink of extinction because these creatures called Titans exist, which are like huge giants that feed on humans. They're like mindless creatures, but all they do is just feed on humans. That's their natural prey. Okay, so humanity is, because of them, humanity is on the brink of extinction, and the last few dregs of humanity that are left are inside these three concentric circular walls: wall Rose, wall Maria, and wall one more I'm forgetting the name of. And so it's basically the same concept. The innermost is where the king is, then outside is where the officials, and then outside more is like where the peasants and all are. So that's exactly, basically.
And then he also talks about this entire phenomenon of ghost cities, right? Now, ghost cities are essentially cities which are like these massive vanity projects which countries take up, right? And but what happens is that nobody really lives there, right? And there are a lot of examples for a city. Like for example, if you go to Myanmar, Myanmar's new capital is Naypyidaw, right? And this place in Naypyidaw, if you look at it, has like 16 lane, 24 lane highways, right? But if you go in the day, they're completely empty. You can literally go and skateboard on that highway if you want to, and there's going to be no one around. Similarly, China built a lot of ghost cities in trying to spread its development and population. So there are cities like Oros in Inner Mongolia and a couple of other places, which for the longest time also became ghost cities, right? For example, there was a place in Oros which was a mall, right? And the entire mall only had one functioning shop, right? And that also becomes interesting that, and of course, from the supernatural point of view, also some of these stories also have haunted, beginnings. Simply because one, it becomes an attractive way to market the city because people have interest in a city which is there. But sometimes also these have also been built on places where people have been buried, or it's really in the forest or something of that sort. So a lot of those stories get carried over into the mythology of the city as well. So it's a very interesting take on cities, and what I like about it is that while it's written from someone who understands design and architecture, but it's very readable. Right, you don't really need to have any understanding of these fields to read this book, and you can apply it to the cities you live in or the cities you have seen in your life, and that's what I really like about this book. So yeah, I think this is my recommendation. Dayan Sujik, The Language of Cities. It's available on bookstores, Amazon, wherever you want to buy it.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. Vinay, what about you? What did you talk about, man?
I want to recommend this like a music album today. Nothing haunted or nothing. I just want music to flow. So it's by Kashmir. Okay. The artist goes by the name of Kashmir. His real name is Niles Hollendar. He is an Indian American kind of an artist, but he's mostly like his influence in music is mostly around the Indian style.
Indian classical, music. You mean?
So what he does is he tries to incorporate. Kind of Indian classical. Like he likes to use more of the instruments, the Indian classical instruments. So what he does is he likes to incorporate many instruments into his song, like the violins, the cellos, and all those stuff, and tries to blend it into the Indian way. So if it is a house music, he'll try to do something with it, and he'll blend it into an Indian way. So he has a new album out called Harmonica Andromeda. So if you go to his album, it's story wise. So it starts with what is Harmonica Andromeda, then it goes into like a small child, and then the story goes on till the last song where it is dedicated to all the mothers. So if you listen to that song, it is sung by him. So Kashmir is the guy. Do you all remember the Cataracts?
You mean that's the musical group or the eyes thing?
The band Cataracts. Cool. Yeah, the musical group Cataracts. So he is part of one of them, and he started his own journey into like house music, electronic music, and all those stuff. So I've been following him since 2012. And he wasn't on the scene. Like he used to do ghost productions for all the other artists and everyone. So in 2014, he was given the stage, the Ultra Music Festival, and since then he has never looked back. And if you go to his biography or discography, you'll if you even click on one song, the song is interesting. It's not like any other song which is like meko dalna hai, meko banana, iske liye maine bana ke dal diya. No, it's not that. If you go and if you click any one song of his, it is interesting. You will be hooked to him. Like what kind of music is this? So if you look at his like the musical journey also, like the Ultra Music set or the Tomorrowland set, you will see all the physical instrumentalist behind him. So what he does is the physical instrumentalist, they play behind it, and he tries to blend it into the electronic form. So this is even his festival, like even his set, like the 1 hour set is story wise. It will start with a story of a girl who is trapped in a kingdom, loves another boy, and then they leave and all. Then he starts playing music, and after playing music, he goes into that story. he completes the story half, then again into music. That this is his thing. Like he likes to play them story wise. So if you go to his new album, you will be hooked to it because it is instrumentally, it is like musically, it is so fit. Like it is ear pleasing. You can call it ear pleasing. And no one expected this album from him because it like in the pandemic he was working on many of the things, but he never announced that I'm going to drop this album or something. He just dropped it suddenly. And
so is it more like a conceptual album?
This is
okay.
Oh yeah, for those of you who don't know, listeners, Deep is also a musician himself.
Yeah, I do know Kashmir.
Deep must be knowing.
Kashmir, Jammu and Kashmir is a great place. Kashmir is his. Is it Kashmir or is it Kashmir? It's his moniker. Yeah, stage name is Kashmir, and its real name again is
like Kashmir. Kashmir.
Niles Hollandar.
It's Niles Hollandar.
Okay.
Yeah, I had this confusion also. Like, if it's pronounced Kashmir or is it pronounced Kashmir? Because
what's the spelling? Spelling is CASH.
So if someone is from US, they will call it Kashmir. We Indians call it Kashmir.
Okay.
It is KSHMR.
Don't be Kashmir because you don't know Kashmir. Kashmir. Yeah.
I've heard people calling Martin Garrix Martin Girish in India.
Okay, nice. And I'm sure you can find this artist on YouTube, right?
Yeah, he's everywhere. Spotify, YouTube, Amazon Music, everywhere. He's famous.
Okay, awesome. Thanks for that, man. All right, coming to me. I, as our listeners, I'm sure know, I love comic books, and I'm going to recommend a comic book. So this is the way, if you are interested in the X-Men, right? This is the way to start reading the X-Men, because if you go and start reading them from the beginning, you will go mad because there's just too many issues and too many X-Men to follow, too many storylines. You're going to go mad. What I would recommend is start reading X-Men from The House of X is a recent storyline, like about 2019. This storyline started being printed. The House of X storyline. And the book I'm going to recommend in that storyline, so there's the House of X comic books, then there is X-Force, there is the Marauders. They're all based in this same series of events. Basically, the same event is going on. That's the House of X event, and all these books are based in that crossover event with all these other mutants. Okay. Now, what happens is, in this storyline, mutants have now formed their own nation. This is the first mutant nation in the world. Okay, it's called Krakoa. This is an island nation just for mutants. Any mutant in any country of the world is welcome to come to Krakoa and make that their home. They'll be given free accommodation. They'll be given whatever work to do or whatever. But it's an island nation which is led by the big people in the mutant world. So that's Charles Xavier, Magneto, Mystique, Emma Frost. And you won't believe this, even villains are a part of this nation. All the bad guys that you've heard of, like Apocalypse and Mr. Sinister, all these baddies, Sebastian Shaw, all these people are also part of the formation of this nation. Now, they like all their previous crimes have been forgiven. This is like the start of a new chapter. Charles Xavier and Apocalypse have even called it a truce for the betterment of mutant kind. Okay. But now what happens is, firstly, the rest of the world is opposed to just mutants just forming their own country, right? They're like, dude, mutants, all these powerful beings in one country, that's not cool. Like, where do we stand then? How do we protect ourselves from all these mutants who have telepathic powers, can read minds and have telekinesis and all this crazy stuff, can shoot beams out of their eyes and are made of adamantium and all. What are we supposed to do, right? So these nations try to dismantle the formation of this nation in various ways. First, when it's being formed, they try to stop that. After it is formed, they send assassins to try and assassinate some of the higher ups in this nation, like the controlling powers of the nation. So they actually send in assassins to try and kill Charles Xavier, and they actually survive. They actually succeed. Charles Xavier, they shoot him in the head, and he dies. But the next day, Charles Xavier is back in the news because the rumor was that he's dead, but he's back alive. How has this happened? The mutants have figured out a way to bring back dead mutants. Okay? So no one from the mutant population will ever die again. So this is a great way that Marvel has found, because, dude, comic book characters anyway die and come back like the next day. It's so common. So this is a good explanation that Marvel has found out of how the mutants are coming back. Okay, Charles Xavier dies and he comes back through this process that they've made up for Krakoans. So the comic book I'm reading right now is X-Force.
Is that how Iron Man's going to come back in Marvel scenario?
It's very possible, but he's not a mutant. Like according to this comic book, this only applies to mutants. So there's a difference between superhumans and mutants in Marvel comics. Mutants are they're born with the ability, and superhumans are made. So like Captain America is a super soldier, right? He's a superhuman. Iron Man doesn't have powers of his own, but he's a superhuman because of his mind and the Iron Man suit and all that stuff. Black Panther is again a superhuman. He's not a mutant. Same with Spider-Man. Same with the Hulk. All these people are superhumans, right? And so yeah. Anyway, the comic book I'm reading right now is X-Force. X-Force is the covert ops of the X-Men. Okay, they do all the missions that the regular X-Men can't do because they have to do it like covertly under the radar, behind enemy lines or whatever. And this is X-Force. X-Force is charged with protecting mutants around the world. So they're like, so now what has happened is Krakoa has opened all these portals. So like teleportation is like a thing, okay, that exists in the Marvel universe. Just go with it, comics. And teleportation, they have Krakoa as a country has through bilateral talks with other countries has opened up portals, okay, like gateways into their country in various other countries over the world. But some of these countries are opposed to the idea of mutants. So they're like, now there are humans in the world which are pro-mutants. So they're like cults which are formed around mutantum. And people are like, mutants are our gods, they're our future. So we will pray to them. And hopefully they will come and rescue us at some point. Then there are people who are like vehemently against mutants to the point they want to see their downfall in every way possible. So there are like these anti-cults against mutants. So like all these organizations that are doing experiments on humans to make humans biologically engineered to be able to fight against mutants if needed, like making their own super soldiers kind of thing. So like all this kind of thing is going on and all this crazy stuff is happening and just various things, man. This is a very interesting comic. So the main characters in the X-Force X-Force again has been around for many years. This is I think the fourth version, like the volume 4 of X-Men with like a completely different cast of X-Force members. So like in this roster, there is Wolverine. Wolverine is the most common, most popular X-Men. So they put him in every X-Men book because he'll sell the volumes, right? And so Wolverine's there, Domino's there, Jean Grey is there. Jean Grey is back from the dead, by the way. She was dead for a very long time because of the Phoenix Force, the whole thing. Beast is there, Colossus is there. So yeah, just check out this book. It's a very fun time. It's a lot of action, some good storytelling, and between any two scenes between in a chapter, if you're shifting from between any two scenes in the chapter, they will have like a lot of exposition that you can just read as text, and that is also very interesting the way they've written down this exposition about what the other worlds are going through. Sometimes there's just letters that someone has written to someone else, and you're reading that, and it's very fun, very cool. So check out X-Force. You can just either buy it from wherever you buy comic books or through dubious means, which is what I use. Thank you, Marvel. Anyway, that's the end of our recommendations round. Let's just run by our recommendations again. Deep, what do you recommend?
So I recommended a YouTube channel which is called Nexpo. And my recommendation was a movie which is on Netflix, which is called The Ritual.
Vinay?
I recommended a music album called Harmonica Andromeda from Kashmir.
Okay. And what's up? What do you recommend?
My recommendation is a book by Deyan Sujik, The Language of Cities.
Okay. And I lastly recommended the comic book X-Force, but you can also check out The House of X and The Marauders, which is basically in the same plot line. Basically the same stories going on in all three of them. So yes, that brings us to the end of this first half. See you guys in the exciting, awesome second half. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another awesome week on the IVM Podcast Network. If you aren't following us on social media, please do. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. We'd like to thank our sponsors on the network this week, Siet Tires and TheWholeTruthFoods.com. So this week on Advertising is Dead, Varun was joined by Mansi Zaveri. She shares her experience of running a community for parents of young kids and teenagers and of hosting a podcast along the same lines. Gauri Devidayal was joined by Divya Thani on This Round Is On Me. Divya works as a global editorial director with Condé Nast Traveler. They discuss the good, the bad, and the ugly of a travel writer's job. On Candid Kanan, Sid is in conversation with Adarsh Gaurav, who recently scored a BAFTA nomination for his role in the Netflix adaptation of The White Tiger. They talk about his role in the show, life pre and post stardom, and so much more. On Agla Station Adulthood, Ritash and Ayushi talk about the precious time and opportunities lost to the lockdown and share their post-COVID wish list. When it comes to cricket this season, we have you covered. In English, we have Edges and Sledges, which do their show live on YouTube. They look for announcements over there. And for our Hindi listeners, we have Khel Neeti, hosted by Rajiv Mishra and ex-Indian cricketer Sabah Kareem. This show is live streamed on YouTube every day at 9:15. Definitely do check these out, and let's get you back to your show.
Okay, welcome back to the second half of this episode. I have the perfect way to start the second half. Now, as a lot of you, I'm sure you'll be able to tell if you're around our age group, that was the soundtrack, the intro theme to the TV show Aahat from back in the 90s, early 2000s, if you guys remember this. It was a show that, that me and my cousins would always call Bhoot Ka Show Aa Raha Hai, let's watch. And we would always sit by the TV with popcorn or Pepsi or whatever we're eating that night and have a good time with that.
You should have put it as a quiz.
What is this?
Guess the song.
We'll guess the song. Man, yeah, I should have done that. Okay, so were you guys ever fans of Aahat and shows like Aahat when you guys were growing up?
Absolutely. I mean, that was one big guilty pleasure, I think, which our parents allowed us. Right? Even though it's sort of supervised viewing, at least for me, right? Because parents were like, okay, we can't let you watch this by yourself, right? So Aahat and followed by Z Horror Show, that was another personal favorite of mine, were definitely the ones which I grew up watching. And I think for me, at least then, and I come from a small town, so cable, I think, came quite late for us, the cable television. And but this was a very, very big draw in the evening. I think it was like 8:30, 9 p.m. sometime, and it was fantastic. It was definitely a very big part of us growing up.
Like, have you guys tried watching a more recent, like a scary show or a horror show in India? It's surprisingly not even close to the quality that was achieved by these older shows, like the 90s and early 2000s shows.
When you watch these shows that are being aired right now and today's days, you don't feel scared. You don't feel that horrifying feeling. You feel cringy.
Yeah, you can see
damn, what is
scripted
this?
Totally.
Why am I watching this?
Yeah, I think what happens is that when something was cheesy in the 90s or 2000s, we didn't know it was cheesy.
Yeah, benchmarks have moved.
Yeah, benchmarks have moved, I think that's what it is.
There was...
Yeah, were you guys, Vinay, Deep, were you guys also into shows like this?
Yeah, I mean, it's something like, not just Aahat, I was into too many horror shows, and I wouldn't say it was my guilty pleasure. It was the pleasure which I always used to go to, and still I go to such kind of content. And there's something in these contents which, I mean, nobody really likes to get horrified. Nobody really likes to feel feared about something. But there's something in this kind of content which we do this kind of torture to ourselves over and over again. Like, we know that we are not comfortable watching this. We feel a little scared to watch this, but still, the next day we always log into the same content. So, no, it's not a guilty pleasure. It's just like it's not, at least for me, it's not my guilty pleasure. It's something which I go to every day and every time.
Vinay, what about you?
There was another show called Koi Hai.
Deep was just telling us about the show. Yeah, we all remember this, but Deep was just talking about it before the recording started here. Yeah.
Even that show was like kind of scary. And like, koi ka ad aa gaya, so I was like, oh my God.
Dude, you remember which was Wo? Was the one with the scary clown? Wasn't that the one?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, man. Oh yeah, I remember that. That was so good. I used to freak out. That used to scare me the most. They're very disturbing. But yeah, that's
even there was this Vikram and Arjun or something.
Vikram Betal.
Betal.
Vikram, no, not Betal. There was this
Oh,
Vikram,
Vikram
guy and he had a
Vikral,
short
Vikral.
Vikrant, yeah, something like that.
Oh,
It's
Even that
Vikral.
was
Was he not a ghost hunter?
no, yeah, he was a
No,
ghost hunter.
Oh.
actually,
But he
what
used to-
happened?
he- but he was supernatural also. He used to see like from the wall to from the other side, from the walls and all.
Oh, he had
Actually,
X-ray
what
vision like
happened
Superman.
Vision.
What
Yeah.
what actually happened here was Vikral actually was a segue from Shush Koi Hai to Vikral.
Oh,
So
wow, okay.
Like a spin-off. It was a spin-off.
yeah, Shush Koi Hai started off as Shush Koi Hai, but they had this another content story where how now ghosts have been created. We created these ghosts. Now
Yeah.
how to get rid of them? So they developed Vikral as a content. So they did a segue from those Shush Koi Hai episodes to Vikral. So if you just read about the episodes, line of episode of Shush Koi Hai, you will see how they have segued into Vikral. If I am right.
Sorry, you mean segue? By
Because-
segue, you mean spin-off, right? They're spun off into the show.
Shush Koi Hai, I mean, I can be wrong, but Shush Koi Hai, as far as like this is what my gut feeling tells me because I've been watching this show for quite a long time. I was a quite much of a regular watcher of this show. So I think that Shush Koi Hai was slowly developing itself into Vikral and that ghost hunter, which had a
Oh.
crossbow and a dwarf who used
Yeah,
to
and
be
dwarf.
with him all the time.
Had powers of Superman and brain of Iron
It was
Man.
Yeah.
now if you want to say spin-off, he was actually a spin-off of Blade, the character from Marvel.
Oh, Blade. Yeah. What's his name? How am I finding the actor's name? Wesley Snipes. Yeah, the guy who got caught for like tax evasion or something. It's very sad. He did. It's just what it is.
So
Uh,
he had his lab behind the walls and all. Like he had a secret room in his house where he had his lab. He used to do all this testing and all, right, Deep?
Yeah.
I think you guys are talking about Dexter's Laboratory. That's Cartoon Network, guys.
That's what I said. He had superpowers of Superman, brain of Iron Man, and like
Oh, wow.
laboratory of Dexter's.
Oh, he's
If-
like the Shaktiman of the
Yeah,
paranormal
exactly.
universe.
Yeah.
If
Like any
Dexter-
powers you need
and-
for an episode,
And
Shaktiman has it.
capturing ghosts in the bottle started from there. You know, like
Oh,
people
really?
started knowing
Yeah.
that
Oh,
ghosts are
wow.
the ghosts. They get
Go-
captured. in
Oh, ghosts are
bottles.
bottleable. They can be packaged and sold.
Wow, I didn't know this was the whole origin story of ghosts being bottled. That is interesting. Okay.
Yeah, because capturing ghosts like Ghostbusters was too technical for them. So they're like, we're not going to burst our brains on that kind of
Yeah,
technology.
just-
We're just going to
We
open a
will
bottle.
create middle class,
Come
we'll create
inside and
middle
we're
class
just gonna
ghost
close it.
capturing apparatus.
Yeah.
Like खाली bottle सबके
Exactly.
घर में होती है.
Yeah.
हाँ, इंडिया है 90s में दारू की खाली बोतल तो हर किसी के घर में होगी, of course, the
Right.
local daru. Yeah, so one of my guilty pleasures was there was a show on Red FM on radio on Red FM 93.5 used to be called Ek Kahani Aisi Bhi. Okay, and I used to love it, dude. It used to be like apparently the show had won a lot of awards and all because at least that's how it started. Award-winning show coming up, Ek Kahani Aisi Bhi, and there used to be like all these great sound effects. So like they would cover audio stories. They would like basically like a podcast. They basically like a horror podcast, and with like great sound effects. Like if they're talking about like और ये वहाँ पे दरवाजा खुला, and like the door creaks open, like you know,
And Utsav
And,
is looking to his
yeah.
darwaza.
That's exactly that was the timing of that. So
Yeah, dude, seriously.
the timing of what's up, looking behind. So dude, they used to do it really well. They used to like वहाँ पे उसने देखा कि पंखा चल रहा है. फर, 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 फर. You know, that's great sound effects. Like they used to do atmosphere very well. Now again, I don't know why I described the sound effect of a fan because that doesn't usually have a sound effect that is required. But
Was that a fan?
or a helicopter. I don't know. Maybe that was a helicopter. But you get what I mean. It was very well done. And some of the stories were really scary. Okay. Like I would actually freak out while driving. So I remember this used to happen. This happened multiple times. I would be driving down R.A. Mill Colony of all places.
Wow,
right?
best place. Amazing.
Yeah, best place. I would literally be driving down from driving down on R.A. Mill Colony, coming from Goregaon back to Powai. And this would be like around 10:30, 11 at night. And that's when they would air this radio show. And I would like happen upon it. And I would like okay, I'm staying on this channel. And I would be like smoking a cigarette while driving the car. And I would, some of the windows open, right? The show comes on. After 2 minutes into the show, I swear to God, I would close my window with a cigarette still in my hand. I'm like, dude, I don't want to risk this. I mean, R.A. will call me. What if something enters my car? I don't give a shit. So I still love this show, man. It's really fun. So
But
and that
Animal Colony, I think it's just a myth that there is
so
something.
again, that's exactly a great segue to get into our discussion on this episode, which is the most haunted place in the world. So for this episode, I did a lot of research. Okay, I looked at the most haunted places in Mumbai. I looked at the most haunted places in India, and then I looked at the most haunted places in the world. Okay, now in Mumbai, this is very interesting. R.A. Mill Colony is on every list. Okay, as
Yeah.
you can imagine, is on every most haunted places in Bombay. Every list has R.A. Mill Colony. Uh, so there's one story that I read about this R.A. Mill Colony, ghost or ghosts, but maybe there are mostly multiple ghosts. But one of them which seems not plausible, but which seems like the most popular theory about what the existence of ghosts is. Okay, is that this young man had just taken a rickshaw from Goregaon coming towards from Kandivali side coming towards Powai, and he was on RA. He had told the rickshaw guy he go through RA. This is at like 12 o'clock at night, whatever time was. Okay, and the rickshaw guy is a little hesitant. The guy's like, "No, chal, I don't care. Let's go. This is the fastest way to get to Powai. Let's go from here." So the rickshaw guy, "Chal, theek hai, let's go." And the guy's going. The rickshaw guy is driving. The guy sitting behind him, and the rickshaw guy starts like muttering all these chants, like trying to protect himself, muttering all these chants because he's aware that this place is not safe at night. So he's muttering all these chants, and the guy sitting behind him is getting a little uncomfortable, like, dude, what are you doing? But he's like, okay, it's his business. If he wants to pray right now, let him pray. I don't know what's happening. So they go a little ahead, and from a little distance, they can see that there's this woman standing there, as you can expect, a woman dressed in white. But in this story, that at least the version of the story I read, it's not a white sari. It is a white floral t-shirt with a white skirt. So this is like a slightly more modern white sari ghost.
21st century ghost.
21st century ghost, exactly. So this woman is standing there under like these bunch of trees, and the rickshaw guy and the guy, the passenger, see this woman off from a distance. They come towards her and they're deciding what to do. And the rickshaw guy like, "Sir, मैं क्या करूं?" And the guy's like, "Acha, chalo, ruko, let's at least talk to her, but keep your engine running because this might be a scam. It might be like, I don't know what's happened actually." So the guy's thinking like, I don't know what's happened. Maybe this woman has been kept here, robbed and then left here in the middle of the night, or she's in some trouble, or her car is broken down, or something has happened, whatever. And he stops there and he sees this woman. He talks to her, like asks her, like, "Can I help you or something?" And the woman's like, "No, just drop me a little bit ahead." Yeah, okay, fine. Yeah, I'll drop you in wherever I'm going. He's like, "No, I need to be dropped in RA colony only, but just a little bit more ahead, like whatever, like 200 meters, 300 meters, 500 meters, whatever it was. There is a little bit more ahead." So he's like, "Okay, fine. I don't mind. Just come in." She sits in the car, and she doesn't talk much, and he drops her ahead. Or they have like a conversation. He drops her ahead, and after getting out of the car, he asks her, "So, like, where are you going?" She's like, "I have a maid nearby who lives nearby. I'm a nurse. I have a maid who lives nearby, and I have to go help her because she's not well. I'm a nurse. I have like all these medicines I have to give her." And she's like, "Okay, what I need you to do," she tells the guy, "what I need you to do is use your phone. My phone I don't have with me right now because I lost it or whatever she says. And with your phone, I need to call up this number. That's the number of her mother. So I need to call up my mother and tell her that I'm fine. I'll be home a little late tomorrow because I'm helping this maid out. And also tell her that I'm very proud of her brother, whoever this girl's brother's name was, say Abhishek, whatever. Say Abhishek. I'm very proud of Abhishek because he cleared his CA exams, which I'm very proud of. So congratulate him for that." So guys, like, okay, fine, I'll do this. He leaves the girl, reaches home, calls up the number, and says, "Okay, hi ma'am, I just met your daughter. I know it's very late, but I swear I just met your daughter at RA Colony, and she's helping this maid out, and she'll be back tomorrow and whatever." And the mother's like, "What are you talking about? Do you think this is a joke?" Like, "No, this is not a joke, ma'am. I'm sorry, I met your daughter." Like, "Yeah, but my daughter's been dead for like 3 years. So what are you going to do?" It's like, "Oh, you're clearly just lying to me." And this guy like, "No, ma'am, I swear to God, I just met her daughter." And she's like, "No, she's been dead. And this is how it happened. She was going to help this maid 3 years back, and her car met into with an accident. Her auto rickshaw met with an accident with a car, and ever since then she's whatever. Like this has been a very sad occurrence in this family, whatever." And he's like, "Okay, wow, man, that's very very sad. But I think I think she met me today because she wanted me to tell you that your son Abhishek, she wanted me to congratulate your son Abhishek for clearing his CA exams." And I was like, "What are you talking about? The CA results don't come out for another month." And he's like, "Oh, maybe she can tell in the future." And the thing is that a month later, the guy actually did clear his CA exams. So That's the story that I read that seemed kind of heartwarming in a sense. But would you guys stop? If you guys, sorry, that took a little bit long and probably sucked the
No,
energy out of this
I'm just
podcast.
wondering, this is not possible anymore because of the amount of traffic on RA Colony roads these days.
Even in the middle of the night?
Yeah,
Dude, it's
Yeah.
always traffic
Yeah.
now.
always.
I guess.
No, but there are 2 roads to RML Colony, I guess.
Would you stop though if you saw a woman dressed in white asking for a lift? Would you guys stop?
I think I would.
You think you would?
Are you
Yeah.
sure?
Yeah, I think I would. I mean,
Window
if I
of the
see someone who's genuinely standard, I think I would.
I actually
I would actually be
heard
scared, I think.
I actually heard the similar story, but with a different outcome to it, or
Okay.
maybe a different ending to it. So this guy actually was driving off through RA Colony, and same thing happens with him. The same white dress lady was standing like off the road, looking for someone who can give her a lift to a distance. And she says the same thing, just drop me by a little more ahead. And she just keeps quiet all the way along, and the guy just keeps on asking, ma'am, where to drop you, ma'am, where to drop you? And she just replies him with the same answer, just a little more ahead, just a little more ahead.
उस
finally
पहाड़ के
she
पीछे.
says,
Yeah.
not pahad ke piche or something.
No,
but
that's
pahad ke
the
piche,
famous
darya
ad. You
ke
remember
niche,
the ad?
whatever. But yeah, what happens? She finally says that, okay, just pull over and just drop me over here. And she then gets off the car and she says that, thank you. You've been very kind, and there are very less people like you who don't see a woman with wrong eyes or with wrong intention. I was like, okay, fine. So she asks, how much do I owe you? So he just looks around and he just looks around the car and all. He says, no, ma'am, it's okay. And when he turns his head towards the window where she was standing, she just vanishes.
Disappeared. Oh
She just
shit.
vanishes. And
Wow.
he moves ahead. And this guy, another taxi guy who was another guy, the auto rickshaw guy who was coming from behind, he says to him, sir, रुको नहीं यहाँ पे, आप चलते रहो. बोलता है क्यों, ये जगह पे वो भूतनी का साया है, ये वो. बोलता है कौन भूतनी? वो बोलते सफेद साड़ी में ऐसे ही खड़ी रहती. बोलते वो अभी मेरी गाड़ी में बैठी थी, मैं उसको लिफ्ट दिया. So he says that she does like this, and she kills people who gives her a lift. You can see me live, like over here. I'm alive. So she says that he says that the last thing that she said to me was, "You are a good guy, and very less people are like you who don't see a woman with wrong eyes." Like इसलिए आपको उसने कुछ नहीं किया. Like so that's actually what I heard.
The version you heard.
Version I have heard.
So
there is the same thing that there is like on the Mud Islands Road, there is a
correct. Mud Marway Road. Yeah, from Marway to Mud. Correct.
Yeah, if you don't stop, that woman literally runs behind you.
Exactly. So, dude, I have a friend called Masoom Rajwani. He's also a comedian, like me, and he has this joke about these white sari clad ladies, right? So they always ask for a lift, right? And you're supposedly you're not supposed to give them a lift because if you stop the car, they will whatever possess you or kill you or whatever, what have you. So you're supposed to just keep driving. But when you keep driving and then you look to your left, she is keeping a pace with the car while coming after you. Basically, so she's keeping a pace with the car on the left or whatever on the right, whatever, on the side of the vehicle. So my friend is like, dude, then why are you asking for the lift if you can travel as fast in my car anyway? Why ask for the lift, dude? You can just go.
There can be two reasons. Either they love to ride in a car, or the transportation services in the afterlife is shitty.
Yeah, true. Correct. But
I'm hoping it's not the second one, but yeah.
Yeah, I want the afterlife to be comfortable, damn it.
Yeah, dude, exactly.
Yeah. So again, this white clad lady thing is very common, right? It's such a common story. I have another version, like not a version, I have another instance of the story. I was in boarding school for 2 years of my life, which is in 9th and 10th standard, very, very young. And we had a teacher called Deepak something. I'm forgetting the full name right now. Sorry, sir, if you're listening. I doubt he is. But Deepak sir used to tell us these. He used to love telling students ghost stories because he had like a buttload of them, and he would like love telling, like making us all sit around a circle on the basketball court at like at 9:30 to at 10 at night, because boarding school. Beyond that, it's lights out time. You can't. So anyway, so you would like sit us on the basketball court in the middle of the night, and we would let you tell us these awesome stories. Okay, and I remember this one story he had told us was the why. So I was in boarding school in Panchgani, and very nearby in Satara district, only in the same district, there is a place called Y. That is where the hospital is. The closest hospital is in Y. Okay, so anyone who wants to get treated in Panchgani has to go basically to Y. And we used to have a bus driver in our school, in our boarding school, who before becoming a bus driver used to be a truck driver for whatever. He used to drive trucks. And the story we were told is that the bus driver was once on the route from Panchgani to Y, which is like about, I don't know, like 20-30 kilometers route, right? Okay, and he's on this route, and he sees this white clad woman. He stops the car to give this woman, to ask if she's okay and to give her a lift. And when he's looking at her, her hair is in front of her eyes, and he can barely make out her eyes, which are fully white. Like, again, like a typical explanation for one of these ghosts, like the hair hiding their face, the white eyes are white, the feet are reversed, all that. So he freaks out and he starts driving down the road without asking her any more questions. He just starts driving down the road, and he looks in the rearview mirror and she's not there. He looks around and she's not there. He looks in the rearview mirror again she's not there. Looks around again the second time, and she's right next to the car, keeping a pace, as these stories go. And so he just freaks out. He speeds up the car. She's still following. She still speeds up the car. He's still following. At the end, he remembers the road bifurcating in a way, and her going towards the left, him going towards the right. And while she was going to the left, she just vanished into the ground. And that's the story that we heard. That she basically went through the ground, like into the ground, or into the, maybe there's a gutter or something, but into the ground she went. And that's one of the stories that we heard. That's just another white lady story. God knows how true it is. Probably.
So I'll tell you a not white lady story. So the highest concentration of haunted places in India is actually in Rajasthan. Right? Yeah. You would see a lot of these stories. So there's this village called, I think it's called Kuldhara.
Yes, right? Kuldhara. I was reading about it.
Kuldhara, yeah.
It's an abandoned, deserted village, right?
It's an abandoned, deserted village for like 150 years or something.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is that there was a king who fell in love with the village chief's daughter, and he said that I will, put heavy taxes if you guys don't marry her off to me.
Yeah.
And the village in protest entirely deserted the village overnight and cursed the village. And since then, there has been no one who's been living there. And then there is a space which is banned. Actually, you can't go after nightfall. It starts with
Bangar Fort.
Bangar Fort. Correct.
Yes.
So the government has actually said you cannot go after night because there have been way too many.
No, not the government. The Architectural Survey of India has said that's so this building, Bangar Fort, is protected under ASI, Architectural Survey of India, because it's a historical building.
Archaeological Survey of India.
Yeah. So the Archaeological Survey of India. Did I say architectural?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. So Archaeological Survey of India has basically it is legally not allowed to enter that building after dark because of these hauntings that definitely played a role. But also maybe what's possible actually is that just because it's off hours, you're not allowed to go after dark because the Archaeological Survey is what is protecting this building. And because you're not allowed to go after dark anyway, that has added to the legend. Okay, even it's so haunted that even ASI doesn't allow people to go inside. So that's very possible what has happened. But the story of that, so on the last episode I had said that a lot of the Indian stories that we have are very often about jilted lovers, about unrequited love, or if it was requited love, that one lover died early and the other person's body is still haunting this area or something like that. So the story about Bangar Fort is that one local tantric fell in love with a princess and decided to use black magic to seduce her. And but she found out at some point during the whole thing. She found out, and she sentenced the tantric to death. Anger that he was caught, the tantric cursed the fort.
There is a Disney story
with
forming.
Whatever, like however you curse things, and since then it's been haunted. Is what the story is. Very similar to Kuldhara.
But out of these all haunting stories, most of them seem so convenient with the white-dressed lady who stands across the road, and a love story which didn't go well, and then the lost souls are trapped in this world for eternity and all. There's this one story which made sense to me, actually, at least to me. I don't know if you might have heard of this or not. This story comes from Hyderabad. Uh, there's a school called there's a school called Khairatabad Science College. Has anyone heard of it? So you can go and search it on the internet. It's called Khairatabad Science College. So this college was had been given a notice for evacuation, and the people of this college evacuated the college. Now, this being a science college, it was particularly a medical science college. Okay, and the people of these college evacuated the college, leaving the dead bodies on which they do the experiments and the dissections and all those stuff, leaving those bodies there like that, just lying there like that in the morgue. So they didn't dispose the bodies, they didn't cremated them, or didn't do a proper funeral for these bodies. They just let the bodies be there, and they evacuated. They just abandoned the college. Days after that, like evacuation happens, and the authority allots security guards for the places until they have taken up the whole project, or they've taken up the whole property. So the security people, there were 6 security people assigned to look after the place. So what happens? These 2 security guards, specifically 2 security guards, they were guarding the main gate, which was opposite the entry door of the college. So one of these security guards starts to hear a small child calling up for his name from the inside of the college. And firstly, he was hearing a soft voice, like calling him by his name. He ignored the voices. He said that he's just dreaming, or he's just hallucinating because he ingested toxins like alcohol and stuff. So he ignored the calling. Later on, the voice began to whimper. It started to whimper, and it was a little shaky. That alerted him. He alerted the other guard as well. Like, hey, there's somebody calling up from the inside, and I think, according to the voice, it's a small girl. Maybe she has trespassed into the property, and she might be lost. So don't go inside. There's no need to go inside. Just be here, because the other one knew what is going on already in this place. So he said, "Don't go inside. Just stay here. There's no need to go inside. There's no one calling. I cannot hear. If I would be hearing, I would have joined you and went inside with you." So he ignores that, and after a few moments, he hears a loud scream of the same child, as if she was crying and calling his name. So he ignored the other watchman, and he just went inside. And after a few moments, when this other watchman notices that he's gone for a quite while, he alerts the other watchmen as well that, hey, this guy has gone inside. He's not yet come out of it. So they didn't muster the will to go inside. They didn't muster the strength to go inside. And since then, it's been a mystery that where did that watchman go? There were search parties who went inside to search for this watchman, but they couldn't find him. Although they did find the dead bodies which were left abandoned. And the localites over there say that sometimes you see skeletons moving inside the college from the windows, and sometimes you see lights flashing from inside the window, from inside the college, and sometimes you even hear voices coming out from the college. Voices as in people are chatting, and there are like as if how a lady gives birth, how a lady delivers a child. The screams, that kind of screams, you can hear from the inside of the college. Okay. So yeah, so that's the story, which made a little bit of sense to me, but I don't really know how much of a factual story it is. You guys can search it up and just have a look at it.
So there are like a lot of places in Bombay, apparently, which you guys probably didn't even know, because before doing research for this, I had no idea that these places were supposed to be haunted. Okay, so there are like places which are very public places. For instance, Bombay High Court. Yeah,
yeah, I just saw that Bombay High Court is haunted. I was like,
yeah,
what?
Isn't that insane to you think about? Bombay High Court, amidst all these lawyers and all are spreading the rumor that this place is haunted. So apparently they say that the spirit of someone who got the death sentence, who was wrongly convicted. Okay, he was innocent actually, but he was wrongly convicted, and his spirit haunts the place. And whoever is entering the court or that particular courtroom is like it's not easy to enter. They feel a sense of being pushed while entering the court, is what they say, being pushed away from the courtroom, like don't enter, like kind of thing. So that's one rumor about Bombay High Court. Another place supposed to be haunted is
even the Taj Mahal Hotel.
The Taj Mahal Hotel, of course, is supposed to be haunted. They say the architect of the building, what is his name?
Charles. And it was wrongly constructed, and he jumped off the building.
Exactly. So W.A. Chambers was the architect of the building, and he had gone away for like during the construction of the building. He had gone away for like a couple of months, and he came back and realized that the building's construction has taken a completely different turn to what he had imagined. And since he wasn't there to supervise, so he, very upset, he jumped from the 5th floor of that building, which to me is, dude, bizarre. What are you doing? If you jump off, there's no way the building will correct its architecture or then design. So you gotta live and just get it reconstructed, dude. It's another.
Some of it just seems to me like negative marketing. That's all.
I mean, no, man. Taj Mahal Hotel doesn't need more negative marketing than it already has got.
No, but this is beyond 2008, right? I mean,
this is way beyond. This is
so that's to do with that.
Probably true. So the other places like so Santa Cruz, they haven't said the building's name, but apparently there's a place in Santa Cruz West, in which probably a chawl, right? In which they say a woman committed suicide after having a quarrel with her husband. Like, must have been a big quarrel, but she had a quarrel with her husband and she committed suicide. And the day she committed suicide, a black dog appeared seemingly out of nowhere and has taken the 2nd floor of that building where the house of this couple was, has taken the 2nd floor of that building corridor as his living place. Like, that's where the dog stays now. And every night the dog starts barking, or every other night the dog starts barking, and they say that it's because the spirit of the lady is there. Now the residents of that building are so scared of this lady, they don't say the lady's name because they're scared. They call her the 2nd floor wali Bhabiji. Is that right? Yeah, 2nd floor ki Bhabiji is what they call this lady. It's like
sounds like a
Voldemort.
Voldemort, yeah, he who must not be named.
Who must not be named.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. So yeah. Okay, now before we move forward, I have to show you guys something. I'm going to share my screen again. I swear to God, it won't hang this time because I'm not sharing sound. But there is a place. Have you guys heard of a place in Mexico City called the Isle of Dead Dolls? The Island of Dead Dolls.
No.
Yeah, I might have heard of it. I actually might have heard of it.
There is a dead doll. There is a doll museum in Texas or somewhere.
Okay, no, this is not that. This is in Mexico City. This is the Isle of Dead Dolls. I'm going to show you. These images are very disturbing. Okay, this entire island. This is a deserted island. Okay. And the only thing that exists on these islands right now is basically now it's a tourist attraction because of these dead dolls. But these dead dolls, what do I mean dead dolls? These dolls, like they were alive at one point. These dead dolls are seemingly put up all across the island in like very eerie ways, man, like extremely eerie. So all these pictures are actual photographs from that island. Okay. So you see this.
Put it in the first place?
So yeah, I'll just tell you. I'll just tell you. So there's this person called Don Julian Santa Barbera. This island is called now Don Julian's Island, by the way, but it's also called the Island of Red Dolls, which is a more popular name. So Don Julian was a person. He one day seemingly found a little girl's body which had washed up in the water canal system of that island. They are connected to the mainland in some way, and the canal system that goes through the island. And he found a little girl's body. And about a little later, on the same day, maybe a few hours later, a doll washed up after the girl's body as well. A doll washed up on shore of the canal as well. So he, as a tribute to her, he hung up this doll on the island. Okay, and apparently after that, since then, dolls kept getting washed up on the shores of this island, which is already very bizarre. Like, why do dolls keep washing up on the shore of this island? So you would like
my theory: a Chinese manufacturing ship sunk with dolls. They were trying to get to some part, and they're probably just washing up anymore.
No, that's actually very plausible. I wouldn't say no to that, but very plausible. But if you don't know the explanation, just dolls washing up, I'm sure it will just freak you out, dude. So yeah, so he just like kept finding dolls. He kept finding dolls in garbage dumps, whatever, in like small garbage areas in on the island, or again around the water bodies of the island. And he kept hanging up dolls. And eventually, the dolls are now so many that they are just covering the entire island. And when Don Julian died, his body was found in the same canal in the same spot where he always said he had found a little girl's body. Okay, so again, that is also just a crazy coincidence if that is true. And so since then, this place has become a tourist attraction where people bring their own like old dolls and all to hang out. There are like areas in the island where you can hang up dolls as a tourist as well. But again, these are like, dude, crazy as hell. These actually look scary, dude. Imagine going in the middle of the night and you see a doll just sitting there. I would freak the hell out, dude.
No, I'm just imagining if our race extinguishes itself, and then suddenly some archaeologist in the future race discovers this place. They would be like, this must be a place of worship, and they have absolutely no idea that it has nothing to do with anything.
True.
It's just completely nuts.
Yeah, that's true, dude. This is just, come on, man. This is, whoever's taking these photographs is also, he knows how to make things look scary. So I love this picture. Okay, I'm showing these guys images, by the way. For those of you just listening to us on the audio, I'm showing images of the island of dead dolls, and there are some crazy, like really scary images. So I'll share this link in the description of this episode. But this particular image, there are all these naked dolls, and then there's one fuzzy little bear that's just hanging on the tree. This is bizarre. This is very funny. Yeah, now you know such a place exists. I used to have a book. Sorry, I'm just talking so much, guys. Please cut me off if you guys have something else to say. I used to have a book called The 100 Greatest Ghosts in the World. Okay, which I've been trying to find since the last 2-3 days. I'm just not able to find that book. It's somewhere at home, I'm sure, but I'm just not able to find it right now. And in that book, there was a story about hairy hands of Dartmoor, England. Okay, so I looked up the story, and this is actually the story that I read also. There's a stretch of land, like a highway in the area of Dartmoor, in I think the place called Devon, in the county of Devon in England, where since the 1910s there have been sightings of seemingly hairy hands that appear out of nowhere. They're just disembodied hands. Okay, just floating hand, disembodied hands that appear out of nowhere, and to motorists, to people who are in vehicles driving down that pathway, driving down that highway, they come on. These hands come on and grab the steering wheel, trying to veer vehicles off the road. So they grab the steering wheel. If you're on a motorbike, they try to grab the motorbike, try to veer the motorbike off the road. And this happened like many times. And so this has been reported again, like years and years has been reported. Popular theory suggests that there's no paranormal occurrence. It's just that people who are new to the area don't know the roads, so they veer off the road very often. And this is their excuse for veering off the road and damaging property off the road. Like, oh man, these hands appeared out of nowhere, and you know what happened. So that's what a convenient excuse. If that is,
yeah, very convenient.
Actually, if the hair removal cream company decides that guys are not buying our products, let's scare them and make a buy.
Yeah, correct. Hair removal. So another very popular story from that region comes in that there's a woman who was traveling with her husband and her child in a caravan, their whole motor home, whatever they had, and they had stopped in the middle of this highway on the side of the road. They were spending the night, and these hairy hands appeared and started scratching on the windows. And at first, they just heard a scratching sound in the middle of the night, and they're like, "Oh, what is this? Maybe it's an animal outside." But then they look up at the caravan window, and they're like, just this disembodied hands, the scratching at the window. So they freak out, and she tells her husband to go outside and check. But by the time the husband goes out and checks, and there are no hands anymore. So again, this is just very eerie stories, which I kind of like.
We should make this ad with these hands. Where they are scratching the window, and this woman goes and tells them to use wheat.
Yeah, use wheat
to remove the hair.
That's a great ad, actually. I'm sure this is very possible that in that region of England, this has been used as a marketing ploy, because they do this. They use like these stories that are popular, local like stories. Folk stories. Yeah, local stories. Yeah, it's very possible that this has been used in like some marketing scheme somewhere, like the Loch Ness monster thing, right? Like, of course, this is not paranormal, but we all heard of the Loch Ness monster in the Loch Ness river. Lake of where is this? England? No, Switzerland. Scotland. Okay, So yeah, we all heard these stories, and okay, just quick thing about the Loch Ness monster. Do you guys know that it has been reported since then that the person who took the first image of, they call her Nessie, right? The that thing, the swan-like thing coming out of the water, that is a doctored picture. The guy who took
Oh, I
that
didn't know
first
this.
picture has already admitted to it, but it's too late now to course correct, because people are now just sunk in. They're like, no, who cares? What if that guy lied? But since then, a creature has come about. Those kind of explanations. But no, that's not. Yeah, it's not what.
Sorry, just one thing, Antariksh. I'll need to drop off in about 3-4 minutes.
Okay, sure. Could
Uh,
you have a story that you want to share or something?
No. I
In the
think
meantime?
I'm good. Yeah, no.
Okay, you're good. Anything else that we haven't covered? I'm sure there are like so many stories that there are a lot of more places in
You
Bombay.
could
By the
make
way,
a
if you guys
4-hour
look up.
episode of this. So
Correct. Yeah, I'm sorry. This is taking a little too long. There's one more about D'Souza Chawl,
I
Mahim.
had this. I had this.
which is also supposed to be haunted. But yes,
Yeah, where a lady fell into the well.
yeah, correct. Dude, you know all these stories by heart, or what is this?
Vinay's YouTube channel is in the making.
Yeah,
It's in the making. Yeah.
No, all these things happened to Vinay. Basically, is what happened. He
Yeah,
knew that
he's
lady
gonna-
who died in the well.
He's gonna name
No,
it
it is-
Vinya Ki Dunya.
But
Nice, dude.
what we had done is me and my friends we tried to visit the D'Souza Chal after 12, but we were not successful in going inside.
Oh, wow.
Otherwise, we would have
What do you mean not successful?
enjoyed it.
Why were you not successful?
they closed the chal na after some time,
Oh, okay.
like around 7 or something.
Okay. Fair.
Like no one can enter that. But I think now no one stays there.
Okay.
So there is this Kamla Mills also in
Yes.
Lower
Not Kamla Mills. Kamla
Mukesh
Mills.
Mills.
Mukesh
Mukesh
Mills.
Mills.
you mean.
Mukesh Mills, Kamla Mills, all Kamla Mills
It's
also.
haunted? I
Like
didn't
most
know
of the
this.
mills are.
I've been there way too
Possible.
many times.
It's actually very possible that any
It is.
mill.
I get those like vibes.
Oh, this
Like
one.
there is something.
So you're saying you
eerie.
get vibes, or you read about it being haunted? Come on, man.
No. I get the vibes.
Oh,
There.
dude. I get vibes everywhere.
So,
Dude,
so what?
you know how
so that,
you know how
I-
often I'm wrong about vibes. Like I think a woman likes me and she doesn't. It's very easy to be wrong about vibes. Okay.
That's actually a true haunting story.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
haunts me. All those times I got to know that those haunt me, man. But sorry, man, you were saying.
But basically, I had this dream that where I used to stay earlier, there were these things that there is a lady who comes after like certain time and she swipes the entire chawl or something. And then there was this house where 2 people were burnt in it, and there goes like shouts and everything in the night.
Okay, wow.
So I had this dream that I am just roaming the place in the night, trying to explore. And I go to this place where they say that the lady swipes every night, and I go there and literally the lady is swiping the floor over there. And I asked that lady like, why? What the fuck are you doing? Why are you swiping the road at night? So I literally shout at her. She looks at me and she goes. And I try to go behind her. Then suddenly I hear this whisper saying that there is fire, and I'm like, fire. Then I go back and I see that the house is lit on fire, and I'm just imagining how did this house get so big that it's lit on fire now? And suddenly I wake up and I was like, dude, that house is built. There are like people staying now. What kind of dream was that? Like the lady and all. So I was like, I'm just imagining things now.
Vinay, you need your podcast of your own. I
Yeah,
think.
you
That
definitely do,
is
man,
my,
about this stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, that is what is our takeaway
Yeah,
from these 2 episodes. Yes.
The haunted podcast.
Yeah, Vinay, Vinya Ki Dunya.
Yeah,
Go
Vinay
on,
Ki Dunya is a
Vinay Ki
great name. Vinay Ki Dunya. Like Deep gets copyright on the name now. Vinay, you owe him some money if you ever make the podcast. All right, guys. I think we have talked a lot about this, and again, we could go on forever and never stop about talking about this topic. I would like to thank all of you for joining me on this episode. Utsav, thank you so much. Deep, Vinay, thanks, guys. Let's close this off. Utsav, where can people follow you online?
So you can follow me on Instagram, YVTravel42, and on Twitter, Utsav Memoria. But most importantly, listen to the podcast, Postcards from Nowhere, available
Yes,
wherever you
absolutely.
get your podcasts.
Yep. Deep, where can people follow you, man?
So as Antariksh mentioned that I'm a musician, so you guys can follow my band's page. If you guys are a fan of Porcupine Tree, Pearl Jam, Tool, Stone Temple Pilot, Dream Theater kind of music, so you can follow my band. My band's page goes by the name Celsius, and the username is Celsius Band Music. If you want to follow me personally, I go by the name o.so.deep. That's O so deep. Yeah.
Nice. All right, Vinay, what about you?
I'm on Instagram @IamVinya.
All right. And you guys can follow me at AntarikshT on Instagram and AntarikshTack on Twitter. Please follow me there. Thank you guys. See you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Hi, my name is Anupam Gupta. I'm B50 on Twitter. I am the host of Paisa Vaisa, a show that talks money. On my show, I speak to experts from every field of money and finance, from stock markets, equities, debt funds, credit cards, life insurance, every possible area of money and finance that you can think of. We even did an episode on cryptocurrency. I've got fantastic guests from mutual funds to personal finance experts everywhere. Robo-advisory, startups, just name it, we've got it. At Paisa Vaisa, we help you make smart decisions about money. You work hard for money. Now make your money work hard for you. New episodes out every Monday, and you can listen to my show on the IVM Podcast app or any other podcasting app that you have.
How aware do you think you are of your laws and rights? Do you look up to laws when you are caught up in situations? Do you know what your rights are when you're stuck somewhere bad? Well, here's a show that can help you move an inch closer to being aware of what your rights are. Tune into Know Your Qanoon with me, Amber Rana. This is a podcast meant to answer all your law-related queries. Catch Know Your Qanoon every week on the IVM website or the app or anywhere you get your podcast from.